Hi everyone, it's Adam with Milo's Restoration, and today I've got a furniture flipping video for you. But this is a client's piece, and it's the largest piece of furniture that I've ever painted. And so it had like kind of a rustic, kind of old world look to it, as I call it. And I had already gotten started on it when I got started filming. So just know that the first thing that I did when I got this piece was I cleaned it with acetone and naphtha and then sanded everything pretty well. And I used like a little bit of like a brush sander on a drill for those little details. So just a helpful hint for that. And then after that was done, I got my airless sprayer out and I got some Centurion 2K primer mixed up, and I added about 15% catalyst, and this is a water-based primer and it works pretty good. I like it. It's not my favorite primer for refinishing situations. I prefer the CS 1106, which is by Centurion, but this will do. So obviously this piece is definitely a little bit rustic, and I'm not going to be able to completely fix that. But what I can do is do my best to kind of fill in some of those little nicks and dings that are really obvious. So you'll kind of notice that they show up a lot better, and it's a lot easier to fill them after the first coat of primer, in my opinion. Plus, spackle and the 3M glazing putty in this case seems to stick better to primer as it is anyway. So back to using the turbine sprayer here, and this is just some vinyl sealer. It's CS 1106. I put on 2 coats of it, and I kind of misted it on the areas that looked the worst, and then sanded it, and then put another coat on. Although I didn't get film of that, but yeah, I put about 2 coats of the CS 1106 in most areas, and I sanded everything back again and kind of reassessed where I was at. So after everything was sanded back, I got my spray gun set up again for some Centurion 400 series, and it's tinted to in the navy. And Centurion that I know of only really has white primer, and it The original formula for the 400 series didn't cover very well in dark colors, but I found that it covers really well now. And honestly, just after one coat, particularly with an airless sprayer, it is almost completely to the color that you're looking for, even with really dark colors like in the navy. And this is in the navy, by the way. So, yeah, it's a pretty good formula. It's very hard to spray inside of a cabinet like that. You're getting a lot of overspray kicking back at you, and it's really hard to see what you're doing. So I'm not too worried about it on the first coat. I'm more just trying to get a bunch of color on there. And I'll get some runs and sags in some areas, and I'll just go back and sand them out. But yeah, it's kind of difficult with something this large to not catch any flashing, as well as not have any issues with overspray getting anywhere else that you don't want it to be, as well as runs and sags. So, when I first started this channel, I was really into the whole HVLP turbine thing, and I've kind of changed my stance on that. I really like airlesses more now, and I'm not great at using them, but what I can say is that most modern paints are formulated to work with an airless. So if you're using HVLP turbines and you're not using solvent-based products, you're always going to have problems, in my opinion. And some of the very thin water-based products work well with HVLP turbines, and I'll definitely always have at least one turbine, but I'm kind of looking to go more towards the airless route. So as far as the sanding goes, I didn't really tell too much about that in this video, but I pretty much tried to kind of standardize what I do as far as the sanding process goes. And usually I'm trying to use just Surf Prep Super Fine in between coats of top coat and a fine pad or medium plus in between coats of primer. And I'll use like a 320 on a flat sander, just like a regular orbital, to get to sand for flatness in between coats of primer. And that's really all that I'm usually doing when it comes to sanding. I'm trying to not complicate things so much anymore. I had a tendency to do that and just do things that were all over the place when I first started, and really I kind of need to refine my process a little bit more. So here I am, I'm spraying the inside of the cabinet, and obviously this is going to be really difficult because, it's hard to see, and I'm also trying to keep overspray off the top. And I don't have any film of it, but I think at this point I actually had the top masked off. And the reason for that is because you're going to always get a little bit of overspray on the top, and I've found that it's just easier to tape the top off and spray the carcass of the cabinet first, and then come back later and spray the top like in an hour or two, in this case with Centurion, whenever you can kind of safely mask off the bottom. So that's what I've been doing. And it's been working pretty well. It definitely slows down the process a little bit, but it ends up saving me time because I'd always have to go back and smooth out the top and put another coat on it. So I figured out, might as well just make it part of my normal process. Okay, so I missed that film of me spraying the top again, but I let it dry out with the fans, and then I sprayed the top, and here it is, all finished. We got it delivered this week, and the client was really happy with it. So thanks for watching.